So depending on your nationality, you will probably need to do a Marlins English test, and then depending where you would be working on board a cruise ship, you would need to do it either for seafarers or cruise ship staff. So before we start, let's make sure you understand what is the difference between cruise ship staff and seafarers. Now, when we talk technicality, legally everyone working on board, from the captain to the spa receptionist, is considered a seafarer under the maritime law. But in the cruise industry, we separate them into two main groups. Marine crew, which is traditional seafarers who run the ship, and hotel and service crew, the staff who serves the guests. On one side, we have the seafarers. These are men and women that operate the ship itself, the captain, deck officers, engineers, and technical crew. Their job is to make sure that the vessel is safe, navigated correctly, and running smoothly. They carry professional maritime licenses, follow strict international regulations, and climb through ranks like cadet, officer, and eventually captain or chief engineer. On the other side, we have cruise ship staff. These are usually hotel department, housekeeping, or galley departments. They are in guest-facing areas usually. We're talking about waiters, bartenders, spa therapists, entertainers, receptionists, fitness trainers, retail staff, and even the onboard medical team. Their focus is hospitality, wellness, and creating amazing guest experience. So to recap, the key difference is simple. Seafarers take care of the ship while staff take care of the passengers. Both groups are essential and together they make the cruise experience possible. So let's see how different the Marlins English Test will be for seafarers. Okay, so let's start. I already have my account created. If you don't have your account created, I made a separate video that you can click here and watch it before we go, so you know how to prepare your account. And I will be just signing in. And we have three different options here. Cruise ship staff, I did this already in the previous video. Then we have seafarers. I would need to purchase the test. You would need to purchase the test as well if you don't have a license code provided by your company or recruitment team. So let's purchase Marlins Test cruise ship stuff. I've done this. And then we have for seafarers. Quantity, let's go by with one. Add to cart, checkout. You would need to provide your billing information here. And then go proceed to payment. Pay, and then processing. Okay, I have my test already. Perfect. And you can begin test now, or you can practice as well. Make sure that your volume is increased. You put your information. So you would need to put your passport number or Siemens book. European vessel type. So for the vessel type, you have different options depending on where you're going to work. If you're going to work with a guest or you are going to work with a container, you press that. And job position, let's go with other. Job title, let's go with staff captain. Of course, you will be putting here your job title. Let's start. I would recommend putting English. This is an English language test. 60 questions, recommended time 45. 12 different types. Okay. This is pretty much similar. Cargo officer and Theodora are discussing a shipping load. Why must they finish loading before 13 hours? So you listen and then you answer.
Well, that's a good job done. What's the next lot?
There are 750 bales of cotton to load. We have to finish before 1300 hours because your ship is moving to another pier. The tug has already been ordered.
I didn't know that. Which pier are we going to?
Oh, not far. It's just on the other side of the river.
So you listen and then you need to answer. The answer is the ship will need to move. So this is why they need to finish loading before 13 hours. And then you go next. The master and chief officer are talking on the bridge. Why is the chief officer having problems sleeping?
You look tired.
I am tired. I haven't been sleeping well.
Well, that could be because your cabin's like a freezer.
And yours is like a sauna. Research shows that it's actually much healthier to sleep in a cooler room than in an overheated room. The temperature's ideal for me.
Okay, well, in that case, I think you should cut down on the coffee. You've been drinking much more than usual, haven't you?
That's because I've given up smoking. Haven't you noticed how I've stopped coughing? But yes, now you mention it, that explains it.
Okay, perfect. So you listen carefully, and then the answer would be he stopped smoking and he's drinking more coffee. So this is actually the cause of why is he having problems sleeping. They mention the coughing, they mentioned that the room is too cold, but this is not the correct answer. The answer is that he's actually drinking more coffee because he stopped smoking. The master and the chief officer are talking. What happened to the chief officer's friend last year?
The company have raised the problem of fatigue again.
They've been talking about that for a long time. My friend worked on a small vessel last year and it was a nightmare. There were only 2 watchkeeping officers on board, he and the master. They worked 6 hours on, 6 hours off for 4 months, and the vessel called at 21 ports in 2 months.
I don't envy them. They must have been exhausted, what with the paperwork, cargo operations, and different inspections.
Yeah, and one night, when he relieved the master on the bridge, he sat in one of the wheelhouse chairs, looked at the radar and electronic chart, and then fell asleep. He was alone on the bridge.
So what happened? Did they collide with another vessel?
Well, he didn't wake up till the vessel grounded, about an hour later.
So let's see what is the answer here. So he fell asleep on the bridge during the night. The question is what happened to the chief officer's friend last year? The answer would be he fell asleep on the bridge during the night. The first answer, his vessel collided with another ship during the night, is not correct because they never said that they collided. They just said that they grounded, and that's when he woke up. But we are going to go with the middle answer as the correct one. And moving on, a crew member is talking about an incident on board a ferry. What did it happen?
A high-speed passenger ro-ro ferry had completed loading and was getting ready to leave her berth. As part of the departure routine, the crew began raising the aft ramps. The port ramp was in the process of being raised and had almost reached the fully stowed position when the lifting wire parted and the ramp fell back onto the link span. Luckily, on this occasion, no one was injured.
This accent is very thick. I think this is Irish or Scottish or something like that. I would need to listen again.
A high-speed passenger ro-ro ferry had completed loading and was getting ready to leave her berth. As part of the departure routine, the crew began raising the aft ramps. The port ramp was in the process of being raised and had almost reached the fully stowed position when the lifting wire parted and the ramp fell back onto the link span. Luckily, on this occasion, no one was injured.
So they're talking about an incident on board a ferry. When it did happen, I think that it happened when she was leaving her berth. So I would be going with this. Moving on. A seafarer is phoning the shipping office. What is he expecting from his brother?
Good afternoon, Clients and Sons Shipping.
Good afternoon. My name's Fabien Bretuchet. I'm phoning from Embry Julia. Could I speak to Mr. Simpson in the mailroom, please?
I'm afraid he isn't here at the moment. Can I take a message?
Yes. Can you ask him to call me back this afternoon? It is about a package that I am expecting from my brother. I was just wondering if it had arrived at the office yet.
Oh, I'll just check if anything arrived in the afternoon post. Just a moment. Oh, you're in luck. Yes, I think this must be it. I'll get the technical superintendent to take it with him when he visits the ship tomorrow.
Okay, so this is easy. He's expecting a package from his brother. Next, the cadet is talking to the chief officer. How many days were the Chinese crew at sea for in their life raft?
Sir, how many days can you survive for in a life raft?
Well, I guess the maximum is about 30 days.
As many as that? I thought it was only about 15, sir.
Well, there was a recent case where the crew from a Chinese vessel survived for 50 days adrift, but they were lucky as it rained for about 15 days, so they were able to collect the rainwater.
Sir, how many days can you survive for in a life raft?
Well, I guess the maximum is about 30 days.
As many as that? I thought it was only about 15, sir.
Well, there was a recent case where the crew from a Chinese vessel survived for 50 days adrift, but they were lucky as it rained for about 15 days, so they were able to collect the rainwater.
So what I'm noticing so far, there's a lot of accents in this type of Marlins test. They're talking about different days, but they're specifically Chinese crew, so the answer for the Chinese crew would be 50 days. Moving next. An engineer is giving instructions. What are his instructions about?
First, you bare the 3 wires so that about 1 centimetre of copper is exposed. You make the green wire about 1 centimetre longer than the blue and brown wires. That's right. Now insert the copper of the green wire into the earth terminal. Good. And now insert the brown wire into the terminal with the fuse. Okay. Finally, insert the blue wire into the remaining neutral terminal. Now make sure all the screws are tight and reassemble the plug.
So he's talking about wiring an electrical plug. They do mention changing a fuse, but they're talking a lot of wires, and I will be going with wiring an electrical plug. The bosun is talking about his previous voyage. What was the first reason the vessel came to a stop during the passage?
I remember one strange passage where we had a chain of stoppages. We were proceeding off the coast of Mauritania in the fishing zone when we suddenly came to a stop.
Why? Was it engine trouble or a blackout?
Well, that happened later, but at first it turned out that the ship's propeller had become caught up in fishing nets.
What happened?
Well, we had to get a diver to free the fishing nets from the propeller, but then just a couple of hours later we stopped again as a result of a blackout. We had to stop 2 more times because of this.
So what was the first reason the vessel came to a stop during the passage? So they're asking what was the first reason, which would be the propeller was caught in the fishing nets, and then later they stopped for the blackouts, but we need to listen properly. And this is the correct answer. Moving on. The chief mate is making a phone call. When is the phone being disconnected?
This is BTV Phone Company. How may I help you?
Yes, I'd like to have my phone disconnected, please.
May I ask why?
Well, I'm a seafarer and I'll be away for quite a few months.
Alright. May I have your phone number, please?
Sure, it's 893220077.
And your full name, please?
My name is Roman Bolkvadze.
Right. For security purposes, may I have your date of birth, please?
Sure, it's June 5th, 1978.
Thank you. Now, when would you like to be disconnected?
From June 9th. No, no, make that June 15th.
So the answer is June 15th. We did say a couple of other dates, but finally we landed on June 15th, so this is going to be an answer. Next, crew member is talking about an accident. What job was the cook doing when he got an electric shock?
The galley deck on a ro-ro vehicle and passenger ferry was replaced while it was still in dry dock. To do this, they had to isolate the electrical supply and tape over the wire ends. Well, during a routine washing down of the galley deck, the cook noticed the wires and, assuming that they were isolated from the supply, lifted them clear of the deck. He received a slight electric shock.
So the question is, what job was the cook doing when he got an electric shock? He was in the galley washing down the deck. Which superstition is linked with always remaining single?
You know, yesterday I was sitting at the corner of a table and one of the ratings told me to move, as in his culture it means a woman will never get married.
Yeah, there are some interesting superstitions, aren't there? The fifth engineer was worried a few weeks ago as he said he could hear bells ringing, which apparently means someone will die. So I told him that's just because he's spent too many years working in the engine room and he's got hearing problems.
Someone told me it's bad luck if you see sharks following the vessel.
It is if you fall overboard.
And some believe killing a seagull will bring bad luck.
That one certainly has. It's had a shit on my arm.
Well, some cultures believe that will bring you good luck.
Okay, so a couple of things that we are mentioning here, but we are the question is what is superstition is linked with always remaining single, which is the first thing that is mentioned in audio. So we're pressing sitting on a corner. And next, what illness do some of the ratings have at the moment?
I didn't get much sleep last night. Your coughing kept me awake.
Sorry, I can't seem to get rid of this chest infection.
Yes, there is quite a lot of sickness on board. Some of the ratings have a fever and high temperature.
Apparently, the chief officer is in bed with violent stomach pains too.
It's just as well we are coming into port. We need to see a doctor.
So the answer is the temperature and fever. What illness do some of the ratings have at the moment? So this is what we will be selecting. Next, the master is doing a cabin inspection. What is the next to the bed?
What on earth is going on in here? There are nothing but hazards everywhere. What are all those wires doing under your bed? And is that an ashtray next to your bed? Yes, it is. And I can't believe that you actually have a toaster on top of your bed. You have some explaining to do.
So next to the bed is actually ashtray. Cabin inspection is a common thing on board a cruise ship, and you wouldn't be allowed to smoke in your cabin or have an ashtray or wired or toaster, but the correct answer is ashtray. So pressing that and moving on. Two seafarers are discussing the cook. What happened in the cabin?
I don't know what's going on in that galley.
Yes, I don't think that cook is going to last long. Did you hear what happened this morning?
No, what?
Well, somehow the toaster caught fire, which set the alarms off. He wasn't around at the time. Then they found him in his cabin drinking whiskey. He said he was just having a small shot for his toothache.
Well, I got him smoking on deck the other morning and he just threw his cigarette butt onto the deck without even putting it out. I think they're replacing him at the next port.
Yeah, definitely something that you would be getting in a lot of trouble on board a cruise ship. So he was doing in his cabin drinking alcohol. A cadet is asking about different currencies. What currency is the 50 note?
You've got a lot of different currencies there. What's that 50 note?
That's a euro. And this 20 is a British pound note.
Right. And what about that 100 note? That looks like a lot of money.
Not really. It's a Filipino peso. It's only worth a couple of dollars or so.
So the answer is 50 euros. Let's listen and choose the correct answer.
Is the fire under control?
So the question is the fire under control? So the only possible answer that makes sense is yes, we will manage to extinguish it. So we will be selecting that and moving on.
Why isn't he in the freefall lifeboat?
So the only possible answer that makes sense is it's his first time, he's a bit nervous.
Have you had your familiarization tour?
The only possible answer is, of course, I had it as soon as I joined the vessel. Familiarization tour is when you first join on the ship, and then you need to know all the areas of the ship, all the major areas of the ship, usually somebody that's in charge of safety would be showing it, or your safety representative for your safety department.
Where's that new cadet?
So the only possible answer is checking the fire extinguishers, because anything else doesn't make any sense.
Why didn't the safety officer keep a record of all the accidents?
Maybe because he's under so much stress, which makes sense because of a lot of accidents. He would be in a lot of stress because safety is his main concern. Let's listen and add.
This vessel was built in the year 2005.
2005, easy.
My present speed is 25 knots.
25 knots.
The top speed of this vessel is 19.7 knots.
19.7 knots.
The vessel on fire is 197 miles off the South African coast.
197 miles.
The vessel on fire is 197 miles off the South African coast.
Yep.
I am proceeding to your assistance. ETA 1450 UTC.
1450 ETA is estimated time of arrival. Choose the correct words. Have you ever been? Have you go? Did you ever been? Have you ever been to Singapore? Is the proper question. Here now we are focusing on grammar. Compared to planes and lorries, shipping is the shipping is the greenest form of transport. Because most and as ending of greener cannot be used together, so the answer is the greenest. The crew are going to be briefed now. The crew are going to be briefed now. Pilot boat met the container ship at the pilot station. The pilot boat met the container ship at the pilot station. The vessel is carrying coal and is the water than usual. The vessel is carrying coal and is in the water than usual. We have two low, lower, lowest. So the lower is lower in the water than usual. Anyone with access to the vessel is a security threat. Anyone with access to the vessel is a security threat. The package looks suspicious. All cargo should be checked thoroughly before landing, no, before loading. Should be checked thoroughly, so we need to have preposition be. The new third engineer is even lazier than the previous one. So this is the comparison with the previous one, lazier than the previous one. The port state control officer has just arrived on board. So he arrived, the action has been completed, so it needs to be arrived. Rearrange the words to make a correct sentence. This port has become a lot more dangerous. So a lot more. This port has become a lot more dangerous. The officer explained the dangers. The officer explained the dangers of working aloft. What warning notices must be used during welding? What warning notices must be used during welding? I have just checked all the firefighting equipment. We need to have on additional lighting deck. We need to have additional lighting on deck. Choose the correct sentence to describe the image. So this is usually about tenses. The crew are about to clean up a small oil spill. The crew have just cleaned up a small oil spill. The crew are cleaning up a small oil spill. So I think they're still currently in the process. So yeah, they're still cleaning up the oil spill. They're still doing something, so I would put in cleaning up a small oil spill. The crew member is about to leave the deck. The crew member is leaving the deck. The crew member has just left the deck. So this is not is about to leave the deck. The firefighters are entering the space. The firefighters have already entered the space. The firefighters have left the space. Entering, we see one inside and one about to enter, so they're still entering the space. The crew have already painted the vessel. The crew are painting the vessel. The crew will perhaps paint the vessel. So they're busy in the process of painting. And this is what we will be pressing. They will don self-contained breathing apparatus. They will don self-contained breathing apparatus later. They are doing self-contained breathing apparatus just now. They have already done self-contained breathing apparatus. They are doing self-contained breathing apparatus now. They're currently doing something, so they are being in the action. So this is the answer that I will be choosing. Okay, let's put everything in the categories. Mobile phone, television, computer, remote control, television, channel, television, mouse pad would be computer, text messages, mobile phone, cursor, computer, ringtone, mobile phone. Next, first aid, accidents in the galley, personal protective equipment, electric shock, let's put accidents in the galley, thermometer, scalding, disinfectant, thermometer, dust mask. Dust mask is personal protective equipment. Safety boots, personal protective, thermometer, first aid, scalding accident, and disinfectant first aid. Travel by train, travel by car, travel by air. Gate, travel by air. If you're thinking about platform is train, parking space is car, rail card is travel by train, driver's license, car. Next, maritime signals, type of vessel, places in ship. Bridge is actually placed in the ship. This is actually where the captains and navigator crew are. Galley, also this is the cooking staff. Types of vessel, maritime signals. So I suppose this is a type of vessel. Maritime signals, lighthouse, cardinal marker, Roro. I'm not sure what Roro is, but let's take a chance. Okay, let's go next. Food container, seasoning, cutlery. Knife is cutlery, spoon is cutlery. Can is food container. Carton, food container. Pepper, salt is seasoning. Next. Okay. Drag the words to label the objects in the image. The arrow point should touch the object. Okay, cushion. This is cushion. File. This is file. Magazine. And sofa. This is sofa. Next. Teaspoon. Teaspoon. This would be teaspoon. Knife. So these are both knives. So let's. Wooden spoon. This is wooden spoon. And fork. This would be a fork. Knife, knife. Okay. Next. Toilet brush. Toilet roll. Toilet seat. This is toilet seat. And this is toilet lid. Next. Chef's hat. Stew. This is the dish. Saucepan. Saucepan. I believe this is a saucepan. And jug. Jug would be this. Okay, let's move on. Drag the words to labeled objects. Okay, tape measure. This would be a tape measure. Pencil. This would be a pencil. Screwdriver would be this. And paintbrush. Where is paintbrush? This is paintbrush. Yes. We have hammer. We have wooden board. We have screw. We have wrench. Okay, drag the correct word to complete each sentence. There is one word you don't need. You'll have to pay a fine if you dump rubbish. You should try to break the rules. Okay, break the rules. Ah, yes, you shouldn't. I read it that you should. Peter will commit a crime by failing to report the incident. Yes. That would be correct. Next. Don't forget to set your alarm for the early watch. Alarm clock. Clock. Have you read everything on that book? Shelf. Bookshelf. If you change the light bulb, you will be able to see more clearly. Light bulb, clock, shelf, yes. Platform. The oil platform is oil platform. Cross the shipping. Strong winds have created a rogue wave, yes. Just not sure now. Cross the shipping lane safely. Let's move on. We have 2 more questions left. This is very similar to the crew one as well. Choose the correct words. Preventing burns. Many accidents in the galley are caused by carelessness and lack of attention. Burns are very common injury. However, if sensible precautions are taken, they are largely avoidable. So taking precautions to avoid any injuries. Make sure gas is well vented before trying to light ovens or pilot lights. Strike matches away from yourself before turning on, switching the gas. Pushing, holding the gas, turning on the gas, switching the gas. I will be putting turning on the gas. Wear long sleeves and double-breasted jackets to protect yourself from spilled or splattered hot food or fat. Dry foods before putting them in frying pan or hot fat might splatter you. Always warn people when you are walking behind them with hot pans or when you are walking behind someone working with hot items. Warn. Let's go with turning on and let's move. And last question. The following texts are 3 paragraphs. Choose the correct title for each paragraph. There is only one title you do not need. Ship lost at sea. On September 29th, a US flagged cargo ship departed Jacksonville, Florida for Puerto Rico with a cargo of 391 shipping containers, 294 trailers and cars, and a crew of 33. So we are describing here who and what was in the ship. So I will be putting that. At the time of departure, Hurricane Joaquin had been forecast. The shipmaster charted a course that took the vessel 200 miles east of the storm, where seas in excess of 10 feet were expected. The ship owners believed the ship's schedule to be a safe one. The vessel had passed its annual inspection and several surveys and safety drills were conducted on a weekly basis. Owners regard ship and passage plan to be without risk. However, former crew members were shocked that the vessel they described as a rust bucket had set sail with a major storm in its course. On October 2nd, the ship was declared missing. It had lost propulsion near the eye wall of Hurricane Joaquin. So yeah, this would be my final answer to everything, and we've done it around under 39 minutes. So let's press next and let's finish. 99%, not bad. Listening, 1 mistake. Almost at 100, but it's okay. We have download certificate for printing, which you need. Depending on your recruitment agent and your requirements for your company, usually you would need 80% and above, but this is more than enough. Perfect. So if this video has helped you, press like, comment about your future position on board a cruise ship, and I wish you safe traveling and all the success in your career on board a cruise ship. Please check out any other videos on this channel, and if you are thinking about working in a spa department or you know somebody that wants to work in a spa department, email can be found in the description of this video, and talk to you soon in the next video. Bye bye.